Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. How can we leverage technology to bring fans closer to the game they love? Today, we'll talk about how AWS and Bundesliga answer that question using AI, ML, data, and generative AI to really change the way the game is watched, played, and experienced. The clicker isn't working. There it is. Hi, I'm Joanna, the Global Sports Partnership Lead of the partnership between AWS and Bundesliga. And I'm part of the team that shepherds all the strategic global sports partnerships at AWS, like the partnership with Ferrari, Formula One, NFL, NHA, NHL, PGA Tour, you name it. And together, we really work with these iconic organizations and leagues to innovate on AWS. And with me today is Sasha. She's the account manager lead for the partnership. And Lukas, he's head of corporations at DFL, Deutsche Fußballliga. So what can you expect today? What's the game plan? First, I'll talk about what is the AWS global sports strategy and how we really work with these leagues and sports organizations. And then we'll dive into the sports partnership between AWS and Bundesliga. And first, I'll talk about the level of how we leverage really data to make it more accessible for fans, to create personalized experiences and real-time insights. And then Lukas will talk about how we revolutionize media production, how we make the game more accessible for the 1 billion fans Bundesliga has globally. And Sasha will finally talk about how we use generative AI to really create more personalized, more interactive content for the Bundesliga fans. So around the world, AWS is working with leading sports organizations to innovate on AWS. And just to give you some kind of direction and impression how diverse this work is and what the scale of this work is, let's have a look at this video.
The game has changed forever, not just for athletes, but for anyone who plays to win. AWS powers the future of performance, using advanced AI and machine learning to capture and analyze every move, every hit, and every play. With advanced performance data and analytics, sports leagues can detect injuries before they happen. The same data powers Bundesliga's match facts and F1 insights, turning real-time stats into dynamic visual experiences that keep fans at the edge of their seats. We also go beyond performance. Across every touch point, AWS harnesses fan data to create personalized experiences, keeping fans connected no matter where they are. Live cloud production is transforming how sports are broadcast. With low latency and high-quality output, streaming platforms and broadcasters can cut costs, produce content more sustainably, and deliver the game to fans anywhere in the world. And AWS isn't just advancing sports. Our technology is driving innovation in gaming, finance, healthcare, and beyond. In sports, in business, in life, we can get you ahead of the game. AWS.
Yeah, as you can see, our work in sports goes far beyond performance analytics, and we can definitely say that AWS is transforming every part and every level of the sports industry. And we're really proud of driving this innovation with these iconic leagues and organizations. And one of our most innovative partnerships is actually the one we have with Bundesliga. But before we dive into this partnership, let's have a quick look at the global AWS sports strategy. So at the core of our sports strategy, we have 4 key technology pillars that solve real challenges for leagues, fans, venues, and broadcasters. And the first one is performance data. In the end, if you think about it, every sports moment could be a story you can talk about, right? But only if you capture the data of it. Whether it's processing millions of data points per second in a Formula One race or terabytes of tracking data at the NFL, AWS helps these leagues not just to make sense of the data, but really make smart decisions, even project injuries of players, and really offer these personalized fan experiences. The second layer is live cloud production. So traditionally, broadcasting a live game required these huge on-site trucks and teams. But in the AWS cloud, broadcasters can actually produce, edit, and distribute the content anywhere, in real time. And this not just saves a lot of carbon footprint and resources, but it really helps and offers the opportunity to create more immersive experiences for the fans. The third one is smart venue. Imagine you walk into a stadium and it's as smooth as walking into your own living room. With Amazon One Identity Management, we're able to really smoothen the experiences of the flow of the people in the stadium. And that's basically, this is a more sustainable flow of people in the stadium. Fan data is a huge and very important tech pillar for us at AWS, because obviously the fans want to engage with the leagues want to engage with their fans, and they want to understand them. And we help them to create these 360 degrees profiles of the fans and really analyze their preferences, their behaviors, not just to create these personalized experiences, but really to build online communities and loyal communities. And of course, as you can imagine, generative AI is really transforming this whole ecosystem and really offers completely new ways to engage with the fans. So now that we've talked about how AWS is working with these leagues globally, let's talk about the Bundesliga partnership. So we have started the partnership in 2020 already. And when you think about it, you might consider Bundesliga being a local or a German product. But looking at the data, it really tells a different story. Bundesliga has over 1 billion fans worldwide, and over 500 million of them are actually in Asia Pacific. But how do you engage over 1 billion fans, right? Bundesliga's answer has always been innovation. When other companies were still stuck in testing ideas, Bundesliga was already rolling out Gen AI solutions to prod. Of course, with the help and powered by AWS and AWS professional services. So how does innovation look like for Bundesliga and AWS? It's really centered around these 3 key tech pillars. And the first one is next-level data services. So since the beginning of our partnership, we've really worked with Bundesliga to create this robust data foundation, which is basically the springboard for any additional innovative use cases we develop with them. And one of the flagship use cases we develop with them is, you might know them already, the Bundesliga match facts. But how do we actually process and create these match facts? So you can see on this slide that we have these 60 to 20 cameras in every Bundesliga stadium, and that they're not broadcast cameras, they're actually data collection cameras. And these cameras really track the position of the player and the ball 25 times per second, generating data of 3.6 million data points per game. And soon, thanks to skeletal data, we actually process 150 million data points per game. And in addition to that, we also process and create 1,600 event data. Event data is basically a significant occurrence in the game, like a goal. What then happens is we process this data. The data flows automatically in the Bundesliga hub in near real time with AWS serverless architecture. And within 1 second, we have these Bundesliga match facts in the live broadcast and in the Bundesliga app for fans to interact with, to deep dive, to really understand what they mean. And these Bundesliga match facts, they're not just stats, they really tell stories. And it's not just for fans either. It's really for players to do performance analytics and to really, reflect on key moments. Let's have a look at how they react when they're confronted with these insights.
Who else but Harry Kane?
3% goal probability. Wow.
Top speed, who's faster?
Rápido.
Hero, you're faster.
Thank you.
Ihr habt euch beide für Emre entschieden, was richtig ist.
Jamal Musiala again!
Yeah, it's a great goal. Been practicing and training to shoot high, and that worked in the game finally, so I was happy.
Leroy Sané, schneller oder langsamer?
Schneller.
So how do we bring these kind of insights directly to fans, no matter where they are, if they're not in the stadium or cannot watch the game? One of the most important distribution channels for Bundesliga and the connection to their fans is the Bundesliga app. And since the beginning of our partnership, we've worked really closely with Bundesliga on one topic, personalization. Because if you think about it, Bundesliga has 2 leagues, 36 clubs, and we found out that on average, fans follow around 4 clubs. So that's already a combination of 1.4 million. And if you add to that geographics and personal preferences, anything, well, everyone is different, right? So it gets really complex quickly. And that's why Bundesliga is working with the service Amazon Personalize. And as you can see here, this is the Bundesliga app in action. On the left-hand side, you see a personalized feed really tailored to the preferences of an individual fan. And also how fans can really deep dive into the statistics, into the Bundesliga match facts in the app before, during, and after the game. And we saw that through Amazon Personalize, we're actually able to increase the overall app usage by 20%, and articles read by over 67%. So we talked about how data really serves the fan, how it serves the player, but there's another voice that is very important in the game, especially when we watch it. It's the commentators, it's the storytellers, right? Because they bring this emotion, this context to every moment. But they cannot just do it with knowledge and insight. They need real-time insights as well, real-time stats and context. And that's really where the commentary live system comes in. It's basically a tool that broadcasters and commentators and partners of Bundesliga use. It's their home of the information, right? They have before, during, and after the game. And it includes all the Bundesliga match facts that we just talked about, but it also includes the data story finder. So what the data story finder basically is, it's a smart engine, rule-based, that analyzes the live data and the live statistics and compares it to statistics of past seasons or past players or past teams to really understand if this is an extraordinary moment. Like, for instance, in this example you can see here on the right-hand side, is when the data story finder says, okay, this is the speed record of the whole season. And that really makes a difference because it's not just of that game, but the commentator and the storytellers around that, the broadcast partners can say, okay, this is an extraordinary moment. And you can see, like I just said, how it works, right? We collect the data, and then based on this rule system, the data story is created, and it's automatically sent to the commentary live system, and the commentators and the teams can really deepen their storytelling. But just talking about it to you now is not enough. Let's have a voice. Let's listen to a voice that is actually one of the most iconic commentators in sports. You might recognize his voice if you're a football fan from Bundesliga, La Liga, or even Premier League and FIFA. Derek Ray, what he has to say about these tools and how he uses them every week.
the access we get to data insights through the partnership between AWS and the Bundesliga is a massive help. The action and the data complement each other, and all of that deepens the way the fans get to understand the modern game. And that is what makes commentating so special. You get to combine your personality with fierce concentration on the action and all the information you have. You get this amazing opportunity to shape how fans develop their true love for football.
Just love his voice. Thank you so much. And with this, I hand over to Lucas.
Hello, everybody, and also a warm welcome from my end. My name is Lucas, and I am the head of strategic cooperations at the FL. How many Bundesliga fans are in the audience today? Please raise your hand. That's a lot. That's great. Thanks, AWS, for hosting AWS Summit here in Hamburg. It's great to be with you. So I today want to share our story when it comes to what we do in the field of media production together with AWS. How do we produce the next level of a media product for the Bundesliga and the Bundesliga fans? Before I do that, I want to look at what enables us to leverage technology in a way together with AWS. This is what you see there, our glass-to-glass strategy. So DFL is what is behind Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2. Since you're all Bundesliga fans, most of you will know that. So we do everything when it comes to what's happening on the pitch, organizing the league, making sure we have a great competition. But what's really standing out is what's happening afterwards. So we own and control the entire media value chain from the glass of the camera in the stadium to the glass of the device of the fan, of the end user, together with our partners such as Sky, DAZN, or internationally with ESPN. Why am I emphasizing that? Because it's really differentiating us from other competitions globally. This enables us to leverage technology at every step of that media value chain, and we can apply AWS machine learning, cloud, or generative AI technologies and their expertise to create the next level media product. And today, that's what I want to focus on. So you might want to ask yourself, what's all this content the Bundesliga is creating for? Well, we have over 1 billion global Bundesliga fans. You might have heard that in the keynote earlier. We have 75 plus media partners. We have over 200 countries covering the Bundesliga live or on demand. So you might already think, well, it's different for someone in the US or a fan in Indonesia to consume content and the content that they need from us. So we have to cater to these demands and provide our fans, our partners, with the content that they need. And what's the essential differentiator for that? It's data. And when I talk about data, I'm not necessarily referring to sports analytics data. Yes, that plays a role as well when creating content, but I'm more referring to metadata that is attached to our video files that tell us what is in a video file, what game is played, what are the players that are in there, what is the context of that video, so we can use this information and automate and localize on top of that. So we asked ourselves, what is the right level of metadata that we need? What is what we say intelligent metadata? So, and why is that so important? Because the Bundesliga alone has over 9 petabytes of footage in our Bundesliga archive. It's impossible for anybody to really search that content. So obviously, we built something that is based on AI, machine learning, natural language, to access our content better. Just so you get an even better understanding, this is what we know from a more recent video. So we know who scored the goal, we know everything about our Bundesliga match facts, we know even weather conditions. For a full game, we also know the exact timestamp of a goal scored or a yellow card. We don't know that, however, for summaries, for highlight clips. There, we actually know a little bit, but not the level of depth that we need to produce content automatically. And it gets even more obvious when you look at what we have in 1965. So a video from 1965, basically we know who's playing and what's the location, and that's basically it. And I think it's quite clear that how in the world would you ever be able to search for content of Bundesliga legends in the 70s or in the 80s? IGM is how. So we built a service that we call Intelligent Generation of Metadata, and I want to walk you through how that works. I want to basically skip a little bit that first part. It's basically saying you can access any content depository, like a Bundesliga archive, for example. Your search would then be using Amazon Bedrock, creating a query that is accessing Amazon OpenSearch. So far, so good. Maybe nothing that anybody would now applaud us for, right? But I think the magic is really happening in that red part. So we would have content files, video files sitting in Amazon S3, and through Amazon Transcribe and Bedrock, we would make sense of what a commentator is saying in that video, and we would actually make sense of it by using Nova models or Sonnet 3.5, so it's actually proper sentences. In addition to that, we use Amazon Recognition to understand what is the sequence of that video, because we understand as soon as the camera angle changes, that is a new sequence. And these chunks of videos within a video file, these video sequences, we can then use with 12 Labs to understand the context. Is it raining in that video? Is there someone holding up their scarf with a club name, for example? Is a player sitting on the ground? Everything that today we can't really access because there's just simply, there wasn't a service for us to apply. And as I said, we already have a level of metadata already. So that's official match data, that's logging feed that we already do. And that is a match to the metadata that we now create on top. And so we understand, hey, there is already quite a bit. We don't have to do everything double. We can actually use the new ones, attach it to the video files, and create a whole new level of metadata that we can use for automation. So I think by now it's pretty clear that data is making a difference. But is that really true? Is it just data? I would argue it's data plus content, because yeah, data is really important, but in the end, we have to provide the right content for our media partners, for our clubs, for our fans. And when you look back at what I stated earlier, we have 1 billion Bundesliga fans. We know from research that they prefer content in their mother tongue. So what do? We provide them with content in their mother tongue. We built, as we call it, Content OS, an AI-driven localization engine that is able to create speech-to-speech, speech-to-text, and text-to-text localization. And we actually use it primarily for video files. And I think the early numbers are quite staggering, 75% in processing time, and 5 times the content created. I want to show you 2 videos now. The first one is how it works with subtitles. And then the second one is the same video, but with voice-to-voice generation. And keep in mind where that technology was a couple of years ago, and I think the results are really impressive.
They're young, talented, and well on their way to becoming superstars. Introducing the next generation of golden boys in the Bundesliga. Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham have already made it into world football's elite. The 2 stars took the first step in this direction in the Bundesliga. Haaland's all alone! And you know what that means? Jude Bellingham, this is absolutely brilliant! Jude Bellingham! The pair left big boots to fill, but someone who's already almost done that is Jamal Musiala. The Bayern youngster is a magnificent footballer.
Okay, that was the first one. And now we have the same video, but with voice-to-voice generation.
Sie sind jung, talentiert und auf dem besten Weg, Superstars zu werden. Wir präsentieren die nächste Generation der Goldjungen in der Bundesliga. Erling Haaland und Jude Bellingham haben es bereits in die Elite des Weltfußballs geschafft. Die beiden Stars machten den ersten Schritt in diese Richtung in der Bundesliga.
Haaland's all alone, and you know what that means. Jude Bellingham, this is absolutely brilliant. Jude Bellingham!
Das Duo hinterließ große Fußstapfen, aber jemand, der sie schon fast ausgefüllt hat, ist Jamal Musiala. Der Bayern-Youngster ist ein herausragender.
I'll stop there. I think there's still a difference. Who would agree? I think there is, right? And I think we still have some work to do to be 100% accurate. But if you consider where we were with the technology 2, 3, 5, even 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible. And with models improving, I think it's only a matter of time if we can really bring that to scale. And in the end, it's also the choice of a media partner to use it just like that or adjust it a little bit. But we're certainly providing an additional benefit when it comes to our content. Quickly going through how it works. Similar to with IGM, I would basically skip the first part. It basically only says someone is accessing the DFL media portal and then requesting a video, which is originally mostly in German or English, and they want it maybe in Arabic, in French or Portuguese. So that would create a workflow that starts the entire automation and localization process. And similar to IGM, we transcribe it. We use Amazon Bedrock to really make sense and create a script that can then be, using DeepDub AI, generate a voiceover for that video. This is then sent back to S3 to the customer or to the requester, and they have the ability to change something, and if they spot a mistake, they can also adjust that. And the system, that's interesting, it learns and it won't make the same mistake twice. So what's next when it comes to content and media production? Well, we have an entire archive that can be improved. We can use that whole IGM service to basically go from decade to decade and improve our level of metadata there. And then, why just stopping there? We can really apply search and recommendation for our media partners, and why not eventually for our fans to give real access to the entire Bundesliga content. And with that, I want to thank you all for joining our session today, and I'll hand over to Sasha. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. A warm welcome from my side as well. My name is Sasha, and I'm the AWS account lead for Bundesliga. I'm also part of telco, media, entertainment, games, and sports industry based out of Germany. And today I will be sharing the story of how, together with AWS, Bundesliga is bringing the fan engagement to the next level. So I'll be focusing mostly on the third part of the pillar, which is all about the next level fan experience. Let's get started. So we heard already from Lucas that Bundesliga already has 1 billion of fans, which Bundesliga reaches through all the content produced. But what we want is that Bundesliga wants to reach the next billions of fans. And how we can do that together, how we are going to reach the next billion of fans. In order to reach that, Bundesliga needs to be the most fan-centric league in the world. So out of those, I'm going to ask a question. Out of those billions of fans, maybe not all of them have experienced a game in the stadium. Any of you have been in the stadium, then you might know, a lot of raised hands, great. Then you might know the experience you feel and the joy and the atmosphere happening there is no-how comparable when you are watching a game in front of a glass and consume the video content, for example, or an article. So the question is, and the challenge is, how we can bring this joy and this passion and these emotions to fans out there. And of course, there's a question, isn't there an AI for that, right? So as said, how we can address more people, more fans in a way that we can scale it. And how do we create the personalized, unique experiences to bring this joy, this passion, and emotions as best as we can to the fans out there. And we heard earlier today during the keynote as well, football is all about emotions. And therefore, we need to translate these emotions. So how can we translate these emotions and how can we engage the billions of fans out there? And Bundesliga's answer is through innovation. And of course, through innovation with the support of generative AI. And AWS powers this innovation, helping Bundesliga delivering groundbreaking fan experience, deeper insights, and a global reach that redefines what's possible in sport tech. So today, before going into some of the examples of how we've been elevating the fan experience together with Bundesliga, I'm going to briefly discuss and going to briefly present the Bundesliga's data services. So Lucas already has mentioned, in 2016, Bundesliga has started a joint venture, Sporttech Solutions, which today is collecting and processing all official Bundesliga match data. SCS, so-called Sporttech Solutions, is offering the service not only to Bundesliga, but also to FIFA and to Major League Soccer, MLS in US. So it all starts, as we see here, with a data collection at the pitch. And once that data is being collected, it's pushed to the data hub, which is running on AWS. And this is where live analytics is being performed, and this is where the data is being stored, and this is where the data fits are created. And this enables Bundesliga to create some great products such as Bundesliga Match Facts or products like Match Centers, the products like what we call it, a live ticker. And now I'm going to show you what happens when we add the Gen AI to that, how we're going to elevate the services. So let's start briefly with the challenge we've been hearing from the fans. Today, Bundesliga fans already demand a real-time match date updates on the game on their mobile devices. However, as that is quite a manual service still, it's not very easy to personalize it. And it's also, because it's a manual process, it's also not scalable. So the product I'm going to talk about, the solution, which is a Bundesliga AI live ticker, it's a fully automated solution that is based on our match data, and it's providing play-by-play text-based commentary that fills exactly that gap. The gap is personalization and scalability. So let's have a look at the solution. We already know the first part, right? Which is the data gathering, focus on the match event data, which I mentioned. So data capture and delivery. Whenever there is a live event data, such as shots, yellow card, or goals from the pitch, it's being captured and delivered to Bundesliga Data Hub to the backend that runs on AWS. As soon as the live event is coming in, such as goal or yellow card, the AWS Lambda function is being triggered, and that creates a prompt that asks Amazon Bedrock via an API call to create a commentary on that event. And then we'll provide that to Bundesliga ticker editors who are watching the game in real time and creating those tickers in a real time. And we want to provide this service because we want to automate and reduce their workloads so they have more time for creativity, they have more time for personalization as well. How does it look in action? So let's have a look in action. What happened? Sorry, just a technical quick error. I think the slides need to go back. I think it's a wrong slide. The slides are not there. Oh, perfect. Great. So small technical error. Sorry for that. Let's look at the game. This is a game, Borussia Dortmund against Bochum. It's Friday night, and it's 15 minutes left to the game. It was a draw, but now, as we saw that the video already started, it was basically a great pass, and the goal has been captured. And now we're going to see this Gen AI live ticker basically here. So when we look at the solution, there is already entry from minute 73. And as soon as we saw the goal has been scored, there's an automatically created a goal card with a player picture included and the context of the goal created. And this is all done within the 7 seconds, which is super fast. It's still faster than broadcasting signal, which is very important because we want to be fast. And also, it's not only the automated solution, but we also have a personalization here, because together with Bundesliga, we want to reach the global international audience. And we have an opportunity here to provide this live ticker in each and every language that the fans desire. So that's a lot of opportunities for us to provide it in different languages. But that's not the end. That's not the end, because more than providing in different languages like localization, we can also adjust the prompt if we want to fit to the younger audience, for example. Here what we see is it's in the style, how we call the sport journalist style. However, on the right side, we prompted in a way that it's fitting more younger audience, so it's in a bro code or bro style. The slides are today, sorry, here. Yes, and as we see here, we selected the bro code, which could appeal much more targeted for younger audiences. And I want to highlight again, the level of personalization and the localization and automation would be only possible through GenAI. And let me be very honest, we do not know yet how this bro code resonates with younger audiences, but I'm very sure, so we are doing the right steps in order to reach global international audiences. And we want to be closer to the fans. So this was one of the examples of generative AI live ticker. Now I want to focus on the second example. Let's look at example number 2, which is a Bundesliga stories. So how can GenAI help us to create new content from what we have already? And also we thought about how basically we can, through the new content, we can also reach some younger audiences. So for example, by creating a new format of the content what we already have. And when I talk about the stories, when I say about Bundesliga stories, it's the same format that you might know already from the social media. You might have seen the circles, and behind the circle, you see basically the content. It's the same on Facebook, Instagram, or you name it. So it's pretty much very similar, and I'm going to show it to you now. At the moment, Bundesliga is creating around 4,000 articles published per season, which has 800 words per article. What we thought is, and those are for website, and those articles are for SEE purposes. So what we thought is we already have content, how we can leverage that content and create something new with GenAI, especially to have it for the app. So we thought about taking this content, and then we can use a technology like AWS to create a new format of the article, and then we created the Bundesliga stories for the mobile app. And this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. This is an example of fully AI-generated stories for the Bundesliga app. And as we see that the content has been also consumed differently now, because the younger audiences, they prefer more like content to be consumed in mobile, in a faster way. And Bundesliga stories is a great kind of solution to that. So how does it work? And we use, for Bundesliga stories, we use like services like Amazon Recognition and Amazon Bedrock. I'm going to quickly show you around. So first, we normalize the article. What it means is that the article has a lot of information that is not really needed for the creation of the story. So we remove all the information which is there, and then later on, we do a prompt engineering. And this is not a simple prompt engineering. It's actually 200, 300-line prompt engineering, which we tell Amazon Bedrock what to do. And afterwards, we create a metadata, and we use AWS Recognition to create the metadata of the players which are covered in the photo. For example, if we are using the photo of Harry Kane, we know already AWS Recognition knows that it's Harry Kane. And afterwards, we do an image selection, and story is created. And this is exactly the architecture diagram, which I've explained, how AI solutions have been created in those 5 steps. Article normalization, prompt engineering, creation of metadata, with Amazon Bedrock and Amazon Recognition. Then it's image selection, upscaling, and the story is created and pushed to the Bundesliga app. So today, Bundesliga produces 400 AI-generated stories per month. And if we look at results, what did it bring us? From switching the content we already have and switching to a new content, which is the Bundesliga stories in the app, it helped us to increase 2 times more the time spent in the app. And during the keynote, you might have seen it as well. Dr. Stefan mentioned this as well today. The result of Bundesliga stories was we had 67% story retention. So the users, the fans who watch the stories, they stay much longer in the app. And also, there is 2 times more, as mentioned, app dwell time. And there is, of course, an increase in efficiency, which is 75%. So this was one of the last examples about how we are elevating the fan experience. And I think there is still a lot of work and a lot of projects we can do together. But together with AWS, together with Bundesliga, we're making a great progress to bring the fans to the next level of fan experience. And that being said, thank you very much again. Thanks for attending our session. That's it from me, from Lucas and Johanna. And if you have any questions, we will be around. So yeah, just approach us if you have any questions. Thanks again. And maybe one last slide. Please complete the session survey in the app, because we love working backwards and we want to hear your feedback. If you have any feedback, please complete the session survey in the app. And I also wanted to quickly remind that you can visit the digital sovereignty, governance, and security area in Hall 1 if you want to learn more about our digital sovereignty solutions and the upcoming AWS European Sovereign Cloud, which we announced that will be launched by end of 2025. So please come by and also visit it. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of Summit.